Hello everyone, a very good morning. Welcome back. This is Aisha Siddiqui from Arham College, and we are going to do General English for the second year BA students. We are on semester 4, chapter number 5, syntax. We've already covered a lot of part of it. For the students who have not watched it yet, please go into the previous videos on the channel and watch the part of syntax. And then later on, you can come back to this video as we've already covered a lot of parts of syntax, and this is the last part, so you will not be able to understand it if you don't see the previous videos. And we have already covered a lot. This is the last part, and after this we will jump off to a new chapter. So students, let's start with it. I'll just first just do a little recap of what all we've done in the chapter previously. So to go behind the first class, we have just done the introduction of the chapter 5. What do you mean by syntax? What are the characteristics? Why we require it? What is the need and importance of it? Right? So syntax in general, we have done the introduction of it. Then in the coming class, we did what do you mean by phrases? And also we did the phrase structure rules. So there were a few rules that are added to the phrases in order to add into sentences. So we did that as well. Then into the next class, we did clauses. In the clauses, we've done the introduction of clauses, why it is required, how it is required, how it is applied, the different importance and cycle of clauses. And then we did in the last class, we did parts of clauses that had subject, object, predicates, then transitive verbs, intransitive verbs, ditransitive verbs. All of this is involved in the last class. So the students who have not watched that yet, you can go behind and watch it. All right. Then we did the complement and the adverbial clauses as well. The complements as well. Okay. So we are coming to the last part, and that is types of sentences that we're going to do today. In the types of sentences, we will complete, or we will do the complex sentences, the functional classification. Then we'll do the WH questions, that is the question words, the question tags, the yes and no questions, the do support sentences, the imperative sentences, the affirmative sentences, and much more. All right. So I hope simple, compound, complex sentences also we'll be seeing. So I hope you all are ready for it. So let's start and let's go with it. Please stay tuned. I'll just share my screen. Yes, I hope this PPT is visible for you all. Okay. So to start with the types of sentences, that is part 3 of syntax. A very important part of syntax, as syntax all is upon sentences. Syntax means the framing and the organization of sentence. So we started from a very small part, we went to a little bigger part, then we went to clauses, we went to phrases, we went to different parts of clauses, and finally we have arrived to the last part of sentences, wherein syntax itself gives you the meaning that to frame a sentence and to organize a sentence properly is known as syntax, right? So we're doing the last part of it, that is sentences. To start with, let's see a definition of sentence first. A sentence is a grammatical unit consisting of one or more words that bear minimal syntactic relation to the words that precede or follow it, expresses a thought in the form of a statement, question, instruction, or exclamation, which starts with a capital letter and ends with a full stop when written. So this is the basic thing of a sentence that everyone knows it universally, that it starts with a capital letter and it ends with a full stop. It's even a child knows this, right? Now, what we have to do it more and what we need to learn more is how a sentence is expressed with the help, if it's a statement, that is an affirmative sentence. If it's a question, can include question tags and yes or no questions and all. Then instruction, exclamation, all of these. Okay, we will be doing in detailing ahead. Sentence can be classified based on categories. Now categories can be pragmatic, aspect, form, grammatical structure, etc. Declarative is a simple sentence. Okay. Imperative is a compound one. That means two joining two sentences together. Interrogative is a complex one. Exclamatory gives you compound as well as complex. All right, let's go ahead and see. Based on pragmatic aspect. What is pragmatic aspect? Realistic condition of the usage. Sentences can be classified into four types: declarative, imperative, interrogative, and exclamatory. Okay. What is a declarative sentence? It is a sentence in a form of a statement, a very simple statement. You can just understand declarative sentence with the help of examples given to it. So I have to go to work. It is a simple sentence, not a compound one, a very simple and short. So it's a declaration where you're just saying something, a statement, you can say. All right. I'll never do that. We're studying linguistics. Of course, we're studying linguistics. He took my bicycle. Okay. These are all declarative sentences where a simple statement is said, a very simple sentence, not a compound one. Okay, let's go to imperative sentences now. An imperative sentence is a sentence that tells someone to do something. All right, gives an advice, it gives an instruction, an order, or it expresses a command or a request. An imperative sentence usually has no obvious subject. All right, so an imperative sentence does not have to have a proper subject. You don't have to say Ria, or you don't have to say a proper name of a person or a place or a thing. It does not have to have any nouns or subjects to it. You can directly say it, and you can directly even understand whether it's an instruction, whether it's an advice, a request, or a command. All right, let's take the examples. Go to work. Now this is a command. All right, or maybe it can also be counted as an instruction. So it is an imperative sentence. Don't do that. Okay, it's an advice. Don't do it. It can also be as a command. Don't walk on the grass. It's an instruction. You should study hard. It's an advice. All right, so all these things which has advice, request, command, instruction, all these things come into imperative type of sentences. Interrogative sentences. Now, an interrogative sentence is a form of a question. All right. In this, we have the WH questions. So, you know, we have on our book, we have on page number 97, if you see, we have interrogative sentences which usually, okay, we've done the imperative, we've done the affirmative. Okay, the affirmative is also known as declarative. All right, so in your book it's given as an affirmative sentence, so do not get confused. Affirmative sentence are declarative ones, the simple sentences. All right, then we did the imperative sentences. The imperative, just now we did the command, request, and all. All right, now we've come to interrogative sentence that always ask a question. So in that you have the WH questions. Interrogative sentences are usually formed with the questioning words. In English, most of these questions are like why, what, where, which, who, whom, when, whose, how. Okay, mostly of the WH questions are asked. Or there are two types of interrogative sentence. Those which expect an answer of a yes and no. Maybe you will ask any question and you will just in reply get yes or no. And those which begin with a what, why, where, this expect a very complete theoretical questions. All right. So yes and no and WH questions are just like together. All right, let's see a few examples. We will compare the examples of a yes and no question and a WH questions. All right, do you have to go to work? So you can simply answer it as yes, I need to go, or maybe no, I don't need to go. Right? You don't need to say that I don't need to go. You just say yes or no and you get the answer. Did you do that? No, I didn't. Did you do it? Yes. So you can just answer it into yes and no. Have you got the message? Yes or no, I didn't. Are you okay? Yes or no. Is she your girlfriend? Is she your boyfriend? Yes and no. All right. So mostly here you say no. Okay. So these are examples of yes and no questions. Let's go to the WH questions. The WH questions will require an answer in a complete form or a complete sentence, and it will not just give you the answer for a yes and no. That's why it's known as a WH question. So let's start with it. What are you doing? So what are you doing is just, you cannot say yes or no. It will not make sense. You have to say, I am sitting at home, I'm doing my work, I'm going out, I'm going for a holiday, I'm going for a vacation, I have to work. All of these questions. So you can just say it in your own words and put sentences to it. That's known as a WH question. All right. Now, why did you do that? You have to explain. I did it because I was lonely. I did it because I did not have any other choice. All right. So you can explain it. So it does not give you just a yes and no in a word. You have to explain it in a proper sentence. Whose car is that? You have to explain. You cannot say just a word, yes or no. You have to say, okay, that car belongs to my neighbor, maybe her name is this or that, or it belongs to her father, one of my friends, brother, etc., etc. How are you? I'm not that good, I've just vaccinated, so I'm not feeling that well. Maybe yes, it is protective, so yes, I'll get better, right? Hopefully. So these are the WH questions. You understood what is the difference between a yes and no question and a WH question. So that's the only difference, that you get a yes or a no, and here you have to give a full sentence. All right, let's go to exclamatory sentences. Okay, now exclamatory sentence is a sentence that expresses strong feelings. All right, it can be a feeling of happiness, it can be a feeling of sadness, excitement, surprised. All right, all these feelings come into it, but it is a strong one, not a very normal one. I did it. So it's not I did it, not that way. I did it. Yes, I've done my work. So I did it. Some strong thing that you've achieved something. So you're saying out of so much of joy, I've done it. What a fool I was. So you're regretting on something bad that you've done, not just, oh, what a fool I am or I was. Nothing like that. It's a strong one. Maybe you've lost something, a very great loss because of some decision bad that you've made. What a fool I was. Why did I do it? A strong one. What a beautiful country. All right. So, wow, that shows your exclamation. Oh my God. That means something, oof, that I've done. That comes into exclamatory sentences. Now there are minor sentence and major sentences. All right. Based on the completeness of the structure, how complete the sentence is. Now, the major sentences is a regular sentence which consists of a verb, a subject, and a predicate. We've already done in clauses, subject, and predicate. So I hope you watched the videos before you come here. Now, subject and example, I have a book. In this sentence, one can change the person, such as we have a book, she has a book, he has a book, all right? But it's a major sentence. The sentence is complete. I have a book. All right, let's go to minor sentences. A minor sentence is an irregular type of sentence, you can say. Okay, it does not give you the whole structure of the sentence. That means it does not make you understand the whole thing or everything about when you say that sentence. You don't, I mean, an unknown person who's sitting and listening will not understand. Maybe there's a conversation between two people and one person just said, just a minute. Okay, there's a conversation going. Oh, did you bring that watch that day we saw? So he said, yes, it's a beautiful one. I have it. Oh, will you just show it to me? Just a minute. right? Now, suddenly a third person has come and he listens just a minute. He'll not understand it. He'll like, what, for what? What happened? Just, can you just explain it to me? Why is he saying just a minute? Where is he going? What is he bringing? What's the thing going on, right? So much of excitement. So it's a sentence that is incomplete. A third person will not understand it. All right. So if I just say yes, for what? It's a minor sentence. It's small, short, and it's not able to understand if it's not complete. All right. Now let's see other sentences. Now these sentences are based on grammatical structures, on based on proper grammar. If you see on page number 94, you will find types of sentences in structural classification. So structural classification means the grammatical structure. So you'll find simple, complex, compound, compound, complex together. All right, so we'll be doing that right now. Let's see what is a simple sentence. A simple sentence is which consists of one independent clause, that's the main clause, and the subordinate. Simple, very straightforward, both the things it has. For example, I come, the boy cried, Canada is a rich country, of course. The girl ran into her bedroom. Some students like to study in the morning. I am the one who likes to study in the morning. All right. So the main and the subordinate clause, that means it's a complete, proper, and a simple sentence. Let's go to compound sentences. So what do you mean a compound sentence? A sentence that has more than one clause. All right. It has a main clause. It has a subordinate clause. That means an independent and a dependent. Usually there has to be something linking to it. That means there are two sentences, one sentence and the other sentence, and one word in the middle that is going to connect these two sentences together, making it compound. Compound means two sentences. So you do not have one simple sentence like this, a simple one full sentence. Canada is a rich country. You don't have two sentences here. In the compound, when you have two sentences, for example, she works in the city, she lives in the suburbs. All right. These are two sentences. If you hear she works in a city, you understood it. She lives in suburbs, you understood it. But compound is to bring these two sentences together by combining it or adding one word in the middle, that is known as a coordinating word or coordinating conjunction. So compound sentences are also known as conjunction sentences, where main clause and independent clause, the independent and the dependent clause are brought together. But here in this sentence, you can see both are main clauses. No one is depending on each other. But both the main clauses are together with one word, that is but. She works in the city, but she lives in the suburbs. All right. So this is known as compound sentences. Let's see some other examples of compound sentences. My friend invited me to a birthday party, but I don't want to go. But is the connecting word to both the verbs, toward both the sentences. He ran out and fell over a suitcase. Just a moment, students. Okay. So he ran out is one sentence and fell over the suitcase. My God. So and is connecting to both the sentences. Either the students or the teacher takes a day off every month. All right. Either or. It's connecting to two sentences. He could neither eat nor sleep. Okay. So neither and nor is connecting. Do you want to stay here or would you like to come with me? So or is connecting two things together. So these are all, there are two more examples here. These are known as compound sentences. Now we'll go to complex ones. All right, simple is done, compound is done. Let's go to complex. A complex sentence consists of one independent, that's the main clause, one dependent clause, and it is formed by putting subordinate conjunctions. Now, if you see in compound sentences, we have coordinating conjunction, that is but. But here in the complex one, we have to put sub-coordinating conjunctions. What are those? As if, before, after, because, although, while. That will give you a little more complex sentence. All right. For example, John cannot set up his computer because the setting is complicated. Now here you could just say that John cannot set his computer because it's complicated. Sorry, you don't need to use because, it is complicated, right? But complex is correctly giving you the whole meaning of the sentence. She became queen when her father died because she was the eldest child. The complex sentence is giving you full understanding with the word because used in it. The because word is the subordinating conjunction. John cannot set up his computer is the independent clause. The setting is complicated is the dependent clause. The main thing is computer cannot be set. Then because it cannot be set, it is complicated, it's the dependent one. Because is the sub-coordinating conjunction, not the coordinating, sub-coordinating. When because comes, it's a very complicated and complex sentence because is going to give you the whole answer to it. So it's a complex sentence. Now the last one comes to compound complex sentence. Now what is this? A compound complex sentence consists of two or more independent clauses, the main clause and also the subordinate clause. It also gives you a very big sentence. Although she worked hard to gain recognition, many people did not know who she was, and her friends did not even appreciate her work. So you saw first the main sentence is given because she worked very hard to gain. Then a dependent one is given, nobody even recognized her. Then it is made one more sentence added and is compounding it together. Her friends also did not appreciate her. So it's making a big complex sentence with two or more sentences coming together. All right. Although she worked hard to gain recognition, many people did not know her and her friends also did not appreciate her. What is the dependent one? She worked hard to gain recognition is dependent. People did not know her, independent. Sub-coordinating conjunction is also on the top, and a coordinating and is the coordinating conjunctions. Her friends did not appreciate her is again an independent clause. All right. All together, this gives you a compound complex sentence. So let's see all the summary of the sentence together in the grammatical structure, because this is a little more complicated. So we have a simple sentence which has an independent clause but no dependent. So one independent clause. Compound sentence has independent also, or sometimes has two or more independent clauses. Compound does not have dependent clauses. Remember this. Complex has an independent as well as dependent. Compound complex has two or more independent and at least one dependent. All right. Now, let's go ahead with more grammatical relations, that is syntactic functions. Here you will have adjective, subject, predicate, object, complement, everything together. All right. Subject, predicate, object, adjectives, complement. All these things are going to come together. Let's see. The man called the boy suddenly. You have a noun, that is the subject is the man. Predicate is the verb part, that is he called. The noun part, that is the object, is the boy. And the adverb was called him suddenly. So everything is added here. All right. So let's see some examples of complement. You know, complement is giving something, adding more to the sentence. She is beautiful. She becomes a doctor, adding more to it. Her looks, her profession, he was in the bus. Where was he? He was in the bus. Smells very good, very nervous. All this gives you complement. Then there are two types of complements, subject complement and object complement. Subject complement gives you he was in the bus. So bus is a subject, so he's giving something about the subject. Object complement, the man called his brother a fool. A fool provides the information about his brother. So it's an object complement. All right. Now, you don't need to do this actually. Then comes your insertion, deletion, substitution, and permutation. Let's see what is the insertion, that is addition of word. Deletion, to just remove some and just the boy is clever. The handsome boy is clever, does not need to add so much. Substitution, instead of some word, you're going to put another one, substitute. The young man visited her mother. He visited her. Simply, you don't have to say young and this and that and mother and all. Just simply, he visited her. It's a substitution. Transposition, permutation. Example, the man called the boy suddenly. The man suddenly called the boy. Suddenly, the man called the boy. So it's just transporting the words here and there. All right. Then it's grammatically accepted, grammatically unaccepted when the grammar is correct, for of course, you know it. Okay. Okay. Now I hope you understood all of this till now. Okay, this was all types of words. Even in your textbook, if you see, we've covered everything. We did simple, compound, complex. In fact, we did compound, complex together as well. Then we did functional classification, that is also grammatical classification, that we did the WH words. Then we did affirmative sentence, declarative sentence, interrogative, imperative, the WH questions, yes and no questions. Okay, now the negative questions I have to do with you are the ones that have no in it, simply. Tag questions are very, very easy. Let me give one example. Sarita is getting ready. Isn't she? Right? Now, another example, the teacher has forgotten her glasses. Hasn't she forgotten? We cannot afford a new car, can we? All right. So these, whenever you add a question tag in the end and put a question mark, that's known as a question tag. You already have done this in, must have done in school time and all. So yes. Then we have the do support. Do support are, we already did that, you're supporting it with a question tag. Imperative sentence, we've done the declarative ones. All right. So till this, we have fully completed the chapter with all the things in it. I will name all the important parts of the chapter before finishing off with the chapter. So let's start with it. The introduction of syntax, that is the structuring and organizing sentences. Then the phrases has to come in a sentence. So the noun phrase, the verb phrase. In the noun, there has to be a common noun, proper noun. There has to be some verb in it. There has to be adverbs in it to describe more. Then there has to be many more things as such. After that, we did the rules of phrases, what all has to be completed. And the clauses, the subject, predicate, object, all of this has to be in a sentence. Then we did parts of it, how one part is important in the subject, right? Then we did, the last thing that we did today was how a proper sentence is formed and what are the different types of sentences that are formed with all the imperative, affirmative, declarative, the question, interrogative, exclamatory, and all. I hope all the topics that I covered is clear with you all. Please see that you all understand it clearly by watching each and every video, and then go to the question answers part. And with this, we've completed chapter 5. In the next coming class, we will move on to a new chapter. By the time, do your revision for the chapters that are already there. Thank you so much, students. Take care. Have a nice day. Stay home. Stay safe. Do take care of yourself a lot.